I think New South Wales government is a bit of a joke.
The recommendation is for land swaps, buybacks, relocations, but there's no detail in who funds it, where they're going to go.
It's pretty much exactly the same as it was 6 months ago when the floods happened.
Residents who eagerly awaited the release of the New South Wales Flood Inquiry report left disappointed and frustrated.
We're in a situation where we don't know what options we have next.
The damning report handed down yesterday found the SES was unprepared and underfunded. The emergency telecommunications services weren't up to scratch, and that the recovery agency, Resilience New South Wales, was slow and unresponsive thanks to a widespread failure in leadership.
Mistakes were made, and a lot of those mistakes were structural mistakes.
The state government accepting all 28 recommendations for change, including creating a new land swap and property buyback scheme.
If we were given the opportunity to leave, 100% I'd be out within a heartbeat.
But many say it's too little, too late.
We were talking the week after the event that we were going to have to look at how land swaps or house buybacks or house raisings going to work. And we've been talking about that for now 6 months.
The finer details about how the recommendations will be implemented missing. The start date yet to be set.
And I know that even yesterday's announcement still creates uncertainty because the criteria needs to be finalised, but directionally the government is committed to this approach.
If the criteria comes out at Christmas, then there's going to be a whole other process after that. So what are we looking at here? Are we looking at 6 months, 18 months, 2 years? People are hanging on by a thread.
Do they move? Do they stay? Do they put more money into their home because they're not going anywhere? Who's going to qualify for a buyback? Who's not going to qualify? Queensland within weeks said it is an option, went to the federal government and got co-funding for it. And that was announced months ago.
So with the threat of a third La Nina looming large, just how long will flood-stricken communities have to wait for action?
Renae Tyson is a Lismore resident whose home was seriously damaged by the flood. She joins us now. Renae, what's your life been like since the devastation?
Yes, so I come back to my house about 5 weeks ago. So I was out for a number of months. My neighbours, I've got a 70-year-old neighbour that's still sleeping in a caravan out the front of her house. There's this street, my little street has about 25 houses in it. There's about 3 of us back in the street. So it's devastating. You go out my front door and you know, I'm confronted with it still every day. Houses off their piers, houses gone. And I wonder where all these people are. You know, it hurts me. It hurts my heart to think, where are all these people? Our little community has just been fractured and, you know, torn apart by this event.
Renae, do you feel like you've been forgotten?
Yes, in some ways I do. Look, I know this report has only recently come out and I appreciate the time and effort that's gone into this report. But look, what we need is action. We don't need, you know, months and months of reports and years and no action. So, yeah, look, I do feel left behind and forgotten about as far as our community. Again, as I say, when my 70-year-old neighbour is still sleeping in a caravan out the front of her house, and my neighbourhood has been decimated, yeah, in the richest country in the world, I do feel a little bit forgotten, yeah.
So the government has provided no time frame for the buyback scheme. How challenging is that uncertainty for people in Lismore who are already trying to rebuild their lives?
Kate, look, that is the absolute, for myself personally and, you know, my neighbours and, you know, people I've spoken to, that's a devastating part of the whole thing. You know, we want to see as a community this stuff happening tomorrow. You know, we want to see action. And look, I think for the Premier, I think, you know, it could be a legacy for him. Dominic, don't be a words man, don't be a report man, be an action. You know, show us some actions, show us that we are moving forward.
Because you are there, what form would that action take?
Oh, Kate, I would love to see houses start to be moved or houses start, you know, buybacks start to happen, you know, like tomorrow. For me personally, I've heard that because my house is off the ground, I hear that they're going to raise it 2 metres more. And again, we don't know. I don't know. For me, that's certainly not a solution to raise my house 2 further metres off the ground. Let's start. What is the plan? Who is going to get these buybacks?
Would you participate in a buyback scheme if you were eligible, Renae?
Yes, I would. Yes, I would. Look, I think I'm in a little bit different position. Not a slightly different position. I probably, maybe be able to get a loan to help me out with some things. So for myself, look, I would. I think that it's a great idea. We need to get out of these floodplains and, get into a safe spot. And if a buyback or a land swap is the answer, that's what I want to do.
Renae, we appreciate your time and good luck for what the future holds. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much.
It was telling seeing her pause at that point to think about it. It would be a really, really hard decision.
Huge decision.
Yeah, but underscores, I guess, just how serious the situation is and the urgency of it.